This is the editing workspace in Adobe Premiere Pro. The 4 areas we'll review are the Project Panel, Source Monitor, Timeline, and Program Monitor. The order I mentioned them is generally how you'll work when editing. The Project Panel holds the files you want to include in your video project. The Source Monitor is where you'll preview those files and choose what parts you want to include in the video. The Timeline is where you put the files in the order you want them to appear in the video. And the Program Monitor shows you what your edited video will look like. Let's take a closer look at each one of these areas. The Project Panel is where you'll hold and organize your project files. Adobe Premiere Pro isn't limited to editing with videos. You can include photos, music, sound effects, graphics, animations, Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator files, and even other Adobe Premiere Pro projects. Like other filing systems, you can organize the elements in the Project Panel by creating folders, which Adobe Premiere Pro calls bins. You can drag and drop files into bins and rename both bins and files. Next, let's look at the Source Monitor. Double-clicking an item in the Project Panel opens that file in the Source Monitor. That action allows you to get a better look at the file to see if that's the file you want to use. On the Source Monitor, you can also decide what part of a multimedia file you want to use. If you're including raw video and only want to include a few seconds of it, you can mark the part you want to use. We'll cover that later in Lesson 3. Next, we'll head over to the Timeline. The Timeline is where you arrange multimedia elements in the order you want them. Please note, the Timeline is an area to do this. Sequences actually hold the elements. You can open sequences in the Timeline to add, remove, and arrange the elements. The Timeline is like a driveway. Sequences are the cars that park there, unload, reload, maybe get a wash. So while you work in the Timeline, it's actually the sequence that's being worked on. Finally, there's the Program Monitor. This is where you see the video you're editing. Whatever spot the blue playhead is over on the Timeline is what appears on the Program Monitor. You can also make some adjustments to the video you're editing on the Program Monitor. We'll cover a bit of that in Lesson 3. For now, we're focusing on the 4 main areas in the editing workspace, which, to recap, are the Project Panel, Source Monitor, the Timeline, and the Program Monitor. You can now continue this lesson by reading the text below this video.